Hello, hello. Just trying to get set up here. Here we go. Perfect. So I have you guys here so I can see your comments as we're getting started. And let me just get a couple other things done. Okay, go ahead and screen share. And here we are. Share. Hi, everybody. Welcome to week 4 of the Peaceful Homekeeping Challenge. Burr, 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 burr. You guys just don't know how excited I am for you because I know that doing this program just brought so much relief and just good energy and positivity in my life. And it just feels like such a blessing that I may have the opportunity to help other moms experience that. And so, for those of you who have been following the challenge for the 4 weeks so far and you plan to stick it out and stick with me, I really hope that you're starting to feel some of those changes now. I know for me, it was like immediately, especially even once I got my routines together, I felt so much relief. And if you're like me, dishes, laundry, and working on your hot spots, those are things that used to feel really tough for me until I kind of got my routine going. And then once I got my routine going and I was like, wow, this is really easy. I just felt like so accomplished, and it made me feel like, well, what else can I do? And what else can I do to make my life feel easier? So that's what we're going to talk about today. We've been talking a lot about those foundational routines, and your maintenance routines are so important because they are the foundation of this system that makes everything work. But it's like once you get that solid and you're ready to go to the next level, then that's what we're going to talk about today, is how to transition so that you can start making progress on all those little projects around your home, the decluttering projects, the to-do lists, and all the things that you see in your environment that you really want to see change with. How do we incorporate that into our system in a way that continues to feel easy, realistic, and manageable, and that won't make us feel overwhelmed? And so let's see. Okay, where am I? Oh my goodness. Oh, here we are. So for those of you guys who have been here for the full program, you guys know that we focus on 4 types of cleaning. We have our daily maintenance and prevention routines. So that is what we talked about for weeks 1 through 4. We also have zone cleaning, which is going to be our primary focus for the next 2 weeks. Then we have our weekly home maintenance tasks, which we will work on after the next 2 weeks. And then lastly, we'll talk about how to incorporate our basic weekly plan. And so as I mentioned, this is what we've done before. And so literally, if you're happy with the results that you've made, you could literally stop right now. Or for some of you guys, you may need to take a break. I know I've had people who've messaged me and, maybe you started the program a couple of weeks late. And if you feel like you need to sit here for a moment, you totally should listen to your intuition and do so. The last thing that I want you to do is pile more responsibility on top of yourself when you feel like you still need some time to really solidify this and make it work for your life. Once again, this is not a race. This is our real life, people, and we have time to work on where we are and to get better at what we're doing, because it's like nothing bad is going to happen if you need to wait an extra week in order to build up to the next level. Just do the best that you can, and it's going to work out. If you're on my email list, this content is going to be available to you to always come back and refer to at any time. And so, but yeah, this is where we've been. And like I said, if you want to take it to the next level, this is where we're going to focus on today. And so, we talked about why zone cleaning is important, because it helps us tackle those projects around our home that we feel like we have been dying to get to. I'm talking about cluttered closets, cluttered pantries. Maybe you have a pile of stuff that you want to go through. Maybe you want to, tidy up some drawers, and you feel like you really want to get it done, and you feel like if you had an opportunity to work on it, you would do it so well. But when you're busy, or you have a lot going on, or you're a busy mom, sometimes it can feel hard to make time and space for those projects in your life. So as I mentioned, we're going to talk about a realistic way to just start getting that done, despite the fact that your life sometimes can feel a little crazy. So this is our agenda for the day. we're going to talk about some BS thoughts. I need to change this because I changed it. BS thoughts that sabotage your decluttering and your homekeeping projects, because you guys know I love mindset. Sometimes we know what we should be doing, but if there's like blocks in our mindset and the way that we're thinking about the world, sometimes that can keep us from doing the simple things that need to get done. So y'all know here, I like to expose that, at least what I was struggling with, because it's a chance that some of you guys may be struggling with that as well. And so I'm gonna just put all my business out on the table, Joy. And then after we do that, we're going to talk about everything that you need to know about zone cleaning. So basically, our zone cleaning is the solution that we have to kind of help us incorporate the deep cleaning, the decluttering, the organizing into our life, despite the fact that we feel like we have a busy life right now. And then lastly, I'm going to talk about the DODD method. And you guys probably know this already, but I am not a person who loves using cleaning lists and things like that. I tend to find that they overwhelm a lot of people, and then they make people feel like crap if you have these expectations on yourself and you're not getting to them. And then sometimes they make people avoid cleaning because they feel like I have to do all the things in order to say that I did a good job today. So since I can't do all of this right now, I'm just going to put it off for later. And people talk themselves out of doing things that they could easily do right now when they have lists. And so in lieu of a list, what I've provided is just a little guidance, because although I don't love lists, sometimes it's nice when you have an overwhelming project to just know, like, okay, this is all you have to do. Put your attention here. And then when that's done, focus on the next thing, focus on the next thing. So this is just more of a guidance to just keep you from getting overwhelmed. But in my opinion, it's not too much, and it's not going to be like a list that can make you feel overwhelmed. And so, hi guys, I just want you guys to know that this is live and I can see you in the chats. So definitely feel free if you have thoughts, if you have questions, if you have concerns, if you have commentary, if you want to share your experience, your story. All of that is super helpful to other moms who may be in the chat, and maybe my way of looking at things don't resonate with them and you have a different way. Conversation is encouraged. And like I said, I can see you guys here. Hey, Sharina. Okay, so every week it seems like we have new people who are kind of joining into the list and who's becoming more and more interested in this peaceful homekeeping lifestyle. So I like to just take a moment to introduce myself. My name is Lede, and I'm the creator of this channel, Love Always Lede. And on this channel, I just like to share my peaceful homekeeping journey. About 1 year ago today, I kind of felt like I had reached a breaking point when it came to homekeeping. I felt like I was just super burnt out, and I felt like I was just putting all of this time and attention to providing a caring, loving, nurturing, clean environment for my family. And I literally felt like I had nothing to show for it. I was always trying to catch up, and I felt like I was working so hard, and then everything would just become undone. And like I always felt like my house was in a chronic state of chaos. And I literally felt like if I'm giving this much to my home, like I don't have anything else to give. Like I don't know how I can make this better when like I feel like I'm giving everything, to it already. And like I don't want to die for the sake of, keeping my home clean. And I also felt like homekeeping must be like easier for other people than it is for me, because why do I feel like this is so hard for me? And then when I go look at other people's homes or I go visit other people, everybody seems to just naturally have it together. And so it really made me feel like a lot of insecurities within myself. And about 1 year ago, something happened that kind of made me kind of reach a breaking point. I already felt like I was struggling with all the things. And then my family of 6, we had to kind of take a trip, and adding the additional responsibility into the weight that I was already feeling just kind of just broke something in my heart. And it really made me feel, I don't know, I just felt like really sad and heartbroken. And I felt like there was a standard in my mind that I should be reaching, and that no matter what I did, like I just couldn't reach it. And I felt so desperate to change. I felt like there had to be a way to finally work harder and not smart, or no, sorry. There had to be a way to work smarter and not harder. And I was determined to figure out what that was. And so around the same time, I saw another video about Fly Lady. And prior to that, I heard about Fly Lady, but the people who talked about Fly Lady always seemed to have like perfect homes, well decorated, beautiful, pulled together. And I just didn't feel like I could resonate with them, because I'm like, girl, where are the people who are on the struggle boat? Because that's whose videos I need to be watching. And so I never felt like I could do the program, because I thought it was for people who, you know, just had their life together. And so something told me to just give it a chance, because I had tried so many different things, and this was one thing that I never tried. So I was like, let me just go and see at least what the lady's talking about. And I went to the Fly Lady website, or sorry, the Fly Lady YouTube channel, and she said a couple of things that really piqued my attention. Basically, I know you don't have all day, but like, what can you do in 2 minutes? What can you do in 15 minutes? And I was like, ma'am, I got 2 minutes and I got 15. What's up? So I got the Fly Lady book, and literally the book just changed my life, because not only did it help me see where I was creating problems in me accomplishing my homekeeping goals, but a lot of the problems that I had, which were a lot in my mind, ended up being problems that stopped me from being successful in other areas of my life. And so I just felt like the program altogether was just very healing, and it helped me see some things in my mindset that once I had a chance to work through and continue to work through, I should change that, just become aware of. Once I became aware of what the problems were, it gave me the ability to start working on them. And so I like to share my journey on this channel, because I know that I'm not the only one. And like I said, I'm not perfect. It's not like I just have life figured out, but I can see where the issues are for myself, where there was a time where I couldn't before. And so I just want to share my journey in the hopes that it can be helpful and healing to other people. Okay, so also, I want to just have this disclaimer here that if you're here looking for a perfect representation of the Fly Lady system, that is not what this is. Basically, I am just adding on to a body of knowledge that already exists, and I'm just adding my perspective and the things that work for me and the tweaks that I've made to make it more suitable for me. And so that's what I'm sharing on this program. So I'm going to jump back into the comments. This is from Crystal. Hey, Crystal. Hi, everyone. I'm late, but I made it. Oh, Crystal, you are not late at all. I haven't even gotten into the juicy stuff yet. Hey, Elizabeth Hernandez and Elizabeth Fisher. Hey, guys, you guys are not late. It starts at 11, and I'm just on the introduction. So you guys are doing great. Y'all haven't missed anything important. So, all right. So this is our agenda for today, as I mentioned, or have I mentioned this? No. So we're going to talk about some BS thoughts that sabotage our decluttering and cleaning projects. We're going to talk about everything that you need to know about zone cleaning. And then we're also going to talk about the DODD method. So let's go. So BS thoughts. The number one BS thought that many people had, and that I too struggle with before my Fly Lady journey, is I don't have time. Decluttering and organizing, it's going to take all day. It's too time consuming. And so today is not a good day to do it. So how about I wait until this weekend to try it? Or how about I wait until like a day where the kids are not here? Or how about I wait until a day where I have like a good 3-hour chunk to do it? And so literally I felt like I was just waiting and waiting and waiting for the perfect conditions to magically arrive into my life so I can just kick butt on these decluttering projects. But the problem was, as a mom of 4, trying to juggle all the things, trying to work part-time, trying to, make sure my kids are getting what they need. I have twins, making sure that they have the attention that they need. That perfect time just was not coming. And when I started my Fly Lady journey, what I realized is that there are genuinely issues when people have a problem with time, not being able to find stuff. But sometimes there can also be another issue, which is it's not that you don't have time, you just don't have time to do it well, or you don't have time to do it perfectly. And those are two different issues, because if you're just looking for time, Like you can find 5 or 10 minutes. Most people can realistically find 5, 10, or 15 minutes to work on a decluttering project in their day. But the problem with doing it this way for some people is they feel like it's not enough. They feel like they are not going to get as far on it as they want to. And if that is the case, if you're not willing to use what you have, then that is not an issue of time anymore. That is an issue with your expectations. And so basically, what you're saying is if I don't have the time to do it well, to do it according to some standard that I have in my head, then I'm not going to do it at all. I'm going to avoid it and I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to live with it until the time comes where I can do it phenomenally. And so that's actually what's really happening is we're procrastinating. In our mind, this is our expectation for how we should be tackling our decluttering projects, our organizing projects. We feel like, I don't know if you guys can see my little person here, but we feel like this is where we are. We're at 0. And we are not willing to even attempt to work on it until we know that we can be at 100. But here's the problem. We're real people. We're living our real life. And right now, it's possible that you're in a position in your life where you just don't have the time or the space or the energy to tackle your problems like this anymore, to tackle your projects like this anymore. And so for some of us, we've come to the point where we feel more comfortable being here than just doing even a little bit of something about it. And I know that this probably is going to be one of my most tough love parts of this whole series. And the reason that I feel like I have to talk about this and expose it is because this is what I was doing. So if any, one comes on here and you're like, wow, she's being quite rude today. I'm not being rude to you people. I'm being rude to myself. And it's not even that I'm being rude. I'm just exposing a BS thought that I used to live with and walk around with and genuinely believe that was true. So I just want to let you know that if you think I'm speaking to you, it's because I'm actually speaking to myself. So please don't think that I'm just coming here to go for anybody's throat today. Even though it might seem like that, I'm going for my own throat because even now, this is something that I really have to be conscious about and work through. So what was I saying? Yeah. So basically, you're walking around feeling helpless. Like, I have these goals, I have these projects that I want to do, but I don't have time to do them. You feel like, that since the time and the opportunity in your life hasn't presented itself for you, you feel like, if you could just have the time to do it, I would be so great. If I could just get these kids to be out of my way for a moment, I would just kick butt. I would be awesome. And it's like you're doing this in the name of wanting to be excellent, because showing up and doing a little bit of this and not reaching that standard just feels so painful to you to do this halfway that you just feel comfortable doing nothing and waiting and avoiding that problem rather than doing a little bit of something about it. And so, yeah. And so, as I was going to say, when you avoid your problems for the name of excellence, it's no longer excellence anymore. Like I said, your intentions are excellence. And like, you just want to be one of those people who you don't want to do subpar work. You don't want to do anything halfway. But when you are in a position where months have gone by, years have gone by, couple of years have gone by, you can't consider yourself to be a person of excellence anymore. That's my thought. And my opinion is what you're actually doing is procrastinating when you're not like facing things head on and you're not putting in the work. And so what that is called, it's called being a perfectionist. And perfectionists, what they do is they wait for the right time to get stuff done because they don't want to look like they're doing things halfway. And what's actually happening is they're avoiding their problems in the name of excellence. They're delaying on their problems in the name of excellence. They are chronically putting off their problems in the name of excellence. And so I know that for some of you guys, you're going to hear this and you're going to be like, I'm not a perfectionist. How can I? No, that's not me. Like, do you see the craziness that is going on in my life? Like, did you see my kitchen today? Did you see my living room? Like, perfectionists have their lives together. And that is one of the most destructive things that you can think, is to think that it's only the people who have their lives together who are the perfectionists, because like it makes it hard for you to realize, like if you can't acknowledge that there could be something within you that's also going on, it makes it hard for you to acknowledge that there's a problem. And if you can't acknowledge that there might potentially be a problem, then it's like you feel like there's nothing that there's nothing for you to do to work on it. Like for you, you see it as an external problem. I just need to like have time to put this stuff together. But sometimes our problems are external. And sometimes there's also an internal layer that we have to work on. And for some of us, this is what the problem is. You feel like you can rationalize doing nothing for the sake of waiting until you can do it excellently or perfectly. And for me, that's also a form of perfectionism, because secretly you want to be able to do it perfectly. You want to be able to reach that standard. You want to be or appear to be somebody who can reach the bar. But when you don't feel confident that you can hit the bar, in your mind, it feels safer to do nothing. This is like literally how, if you're struggling with perfectionism, this is literally how you look at your problems. Either I'm hitting that peak, I'm about to do the dang thing today. And if I can't do it today, I don't have time to do it like that today. If my kids are acting crazy today, oh my gosh, stuff is coming up. It feels safer for me to just do nothing. This is a very all or nothing kind of mentality. You don't create any space in your life to live in the in between. But that's where I would argue is some of the most richest, vibrant parts of life. Learning to be somebody who can live in the in between. Because when you shift from going from nothing, like I can't do anything if I can't do it perfectly, to somebody who's like, I'm just going to work on it a little bit every day until I get there, that is called making progress. And being somebody who can show up, and maybe you can't do the best job you can on day 1 or day 2 or day 3, but being somebody who's willing to look at, like, yes, I don't have the time, but what do I have right now? Being somebody who's willing to confront their problems, even if you can't do it to the standard in your head that it should be done. Like, basically what I'm trying to say is it doesn't make you less excellent if you have to be the person who takes the scenic route. That's all I'm saying. Like, there's no rule. Like, if you need to be the kind of person who needs to chunk this stuff down and work on it for 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, to me, that is far more productive. And that is far more notable than the person who's trying to do it like this, who's trying to reach the top all at once, but who are actually living like this. And that is what I was doing. And that's why I need to expose it, because that's really the toxic part of perfectionism. And so let's see, I feel like I had some other stuff that I want to say. Yeah, when you decide to live a life like this, not only is it easier, but it's more productive. It is more productive to tackle your projects, tackle your problems a little bit every day, rather than waiting and living with them and pretending that it's in the name of excellence, when the truth is it's really not. You're procrastinating, and we need to figure out how to not do that anymore if you want to start seeing some results in your life. And so with zone cleaning, which is the strategy that we're going to be using for handling those types of projects around our home, it's really going to be about remembering that there is a middle option, that it doesn't always have to be all or nothing. There's a middle option. And we're going to try to transfer from people who prefer to do their tasks like this. I don't know if you can see my little man on the left. He has a big pile of bricks and he's trying to lug them all at once. We're going to really try to get out of that mindset, because although I know that you guys are capable, you're strong enough, you can do it, like you can kick butt if you have to do it like this. Like I said, the problem is you don't have the time or the energy or the bandwidth to do it like this right now. So we're going to try a different strategy, which is to break it down into little bite-sized pieces and do it little by little by little. And both of these methods are, I mean, I don't want to say equally hard, but both of these methods are challenging because, the one to the left, the guy trying to do it all at once, that requires a lot of energy, that requires a lot of willpower, that requires a lot of trying to muscle through the cleaning. Whereas the person on the other side, the person who's taking it bit by bit, like just because on a day-to-day basis it looks like it's going to be easier, in order for him to reach his goals and beyond, he has to be a person that's consistent. And becoming a person that is consistent and that regularly and frequently shows up to look your problems in the eye and do something about it, that is just as difficult as well, becoming a person who is consistent. And so it's not about which method is better. When you're trying to decide how you want to tackle your goals, it's about figuring out which method is going to work the best with your life as it is right now. And for me, what I was trying to do is I was trying to be man A. I was trying to do all the things at one time. I was burning myself out. I had to take a break because I got tired, or, like at the time, it just wasn't realistic because I had so many different other variables and factors going on to my life. But when I made the switch to just taking a little bite out of it every day, you guys would be so surprised in how much you can get done when you do it like this. And after a month, after 2 months, after 6 months, like, it's just crazy the results that you can get when you become consistent. Because the problem with the way I was doing it before is that once the work was done, I thought I was done. I thought I could sit down. I thought I could take a break. And it's like, if I would have just been doing it little by little, yeah, it would have taken me a month to get that project done. But because I have energy, I didn't burn myself out, because I have stamina, now I can continue to go on to the next project. And I could have momentum and be able to build off of that. But when you're tired and you're stressed out and you're frustrated all the time and you're trying to force a lifestyle that does not fit for you anymore, it's kind of like sabotaging yourself. And so that's what we want to talk about today, and how we can really make that transition when it comes to homekeeping. And literally, it's not that hard, you guys. It's literally just a flip in the way that you think about your problems and the way that you think about what you want, how you want to show up. And it's literally a switch from not thinking about excellence like this anymore. This is not the only way to be excellent. This is also a form of excellence. And when you become somebody who can consistently show up to tackle your stuff, get your stuff done, you'll find that not only are you going to be able to reach that goal that you had in your mind before, but you're going to be able to exceed it because you have what it takes to be consistent. You're going to have momentum, and you're going to be able to build off of this goal and beyond. So let me go read some comments. Uh-oh. Okay. That's from Elizabeth. Hey, Elizabeth, that sounds like me, girl. I completely understand, because that was the life that I was living. And it felt like once I got started with this Fly Lady stuff, it just exposed it to me. And it became more and more obvious over time that living like this is a choice, and that the only thing that stopped me from being a person who wanted to focus on progress literally was in my mind. And so, and it's not going to feel like that, as you're going through this. Some days it's literally going to feel like something is literally trying to hold you back. But my goal is just to help share my story, because for me, it turned out that all of this stuff, all of the problems that I created for myself when trying to live a life like this, literally is just all in my mind. Like, nobody cared whether I cleaned my pantries like this or like this, you know what I'm saying? And so literally the limitations that I put on myself, that kept me from feeling like it wasn't okay to make progress a little bit at a time, it was all in my mind. And once I kind of got to the point where I got my mind right, and I allowed myself to be okay with making progress and doing a little bit every day, that's when the results started falling in. And so not only does this apply to like my homekeeping, but even today, you guys have no idea how stressed out I felt about coming and presenting this stuff today. And if it would have been the old me, I would have been like, my presentation is not ready. I can't come on here today. But because I now have the experience of doing this fly lady stuff, and I know that, you know, it's okay to like use what you have, show up, do the best that you can, and come back. If you're not happy with something, come back and fix it tomorrow. And so like basically I'm just trying to say that perfectionism is something that, yes, it was holding me back in my homekeeping, but even in other areas of my life I have to be very conscious of it, because it will try to hold you back from a lot of things in the name of excellence. But like I mentioned, if you're not doing anything about your problems and you're waiting for your problems, then it's no longer excellence anymore. And so that's, it's called procrastinating. And that's literally the number one problem of perfectionism. So Sharina said she received her book last week and I have not started reading it yet. eBay purchase, perfectly intact, but tacked, but smells of smoke. I need to air it out next to a bowl of vinegar. Oh, I didn't know about the bowl of vinegar. Does that help? Does that really help? And then this is from Evie. Put the book outside on a sunny, breezy day. And Crystal said, this is me for years. Me too. I want to be able to finish a project when I start. And I'm learning slowly that making slow progress is just as good, as long as I'm getting something done. Absolutely. Baby steps. Hey, First Lady Lede. Sorry, I don't know why that made me laugh. Hey, misbehavior. It's okay to take the scenic route. Woo, I need this today. All right. So all right, so let's move on. So the strategy that we're going to use to help us become people who are consistently showing up to make progress is zone cleaning. And so basically we are going to commit to transforming your home 15 minutes at a time. And people, let me just tell you, if you've never tried this before, it is powerful. It's very easy to be like 15 minutes at a time. Like, that's not going to do anything, but 15 minutes is like the perfect amount of time, because number one, 15 minutes is very hard to talk yourself out of 15 minutes. Like when you're looking at a project and you're like, that's at least 2 hours worth of work, it's very easy to be like, I'll do it later. You know? But when it's like 15 minutes, you're like, come on, girl, like get up and go get this done so you can move on with your day. So 15 minutes is perfect because it gets you out of your head and it gets you into action, which is what you need in order to get your projects done. And then also, 15 minutes is incredibly productive. One thing that I've learned that our mind tries to do is it tries to make it seem like things last way longer than they actually do. But that's what I found the power, or basically I found power in timing myself, because it helps me see what the real or what the reality is compared to like what is actually going in my head. And 15 minutes in reality is a very productive amount of time to get tasks done. And so for zone cleaning, what we will be doing is we will be breaking our homes into sections, and we will be focusing on one section at a time. And so by the end of the month, we will have been able to rotate through every section of our home so that we can give it that detailed, focused attention to get our decluttering projects done. Once those are done, to work on our organizing projects. Once those are done, to work on our deep cleaning. And so once again, breaking our home into sections is what's going to allow this to be realistic. Furthermore, we will be working on our zone cleaning 3 to 5 times per week. Personally, I do 3 times a week, and that has still been incredibly helpful and productive for me. However, I know on the Fly Lady system, I think they do theirs 4 to 5 times per week. I say do whatever floats your boat. 3 times has been enough for me to transform my 3,500 square feet home. Is it 3,500? Yeah, square foot home. House is transformed compared to where I started, but 5 times a week is definitely faster. It's going to get you those results faster. So for me, I had to look at what was going on in my life. If I was going to be doing errand day, then to me at the time where I had my twins, it didn't make sense for me to do errand day, which we'll talk about later, be running errands and then come back and expect me to zone clean. So as a compromise, I decided 3 days a week, and that's worked out very well for me. And yeah, so once you, as I mentioned, we'll be rotating, we'll be focusing on one section at a time, and we'll be rotating sections throughout our home throughout the month. So once again, here's the details. Each week, we will focus on one section at a time, and we will show up for 15 minutes 3 to 5 days per week. And so the reason that this is beneficial is because number one, no more excuses. Like if you used to say that you don't have time to do it, most people can reasonably find a 15-minute chunk in their day of choosing whatever day you choose to do. And so if you feel like you can't do it in 15 minutes, then you know that you may be transitioning back into the original problem that we were discussing. That it's not that you can't do your decluttering for 15 minutes. You just don't think you can do it well. Therefore, it's you feel more comfortable avoiding the problem altogether. And so, like I said, those are two different issues. But if you feel like genuinely this is a time issue, then no more excuses, because we're just going to do it for 15 minutes. And as I mentioned, most people can reasonably find 15 minutes of their day. Um, you know, at some point in the week, you can find a little chunk of 15 minutes here and there throughout your week. And if you just can't find that 15-minute chunk, I just don't know what to tell you. I think it might be time to hire a homekeeper, because we cannot do it all. If you're if you're like working that hard, maybe you have a job outside the home and you don't have any time in the evening, you don't have any time on the weekend to work this in, you know, let's be realistic. This may not be Peaceful homekeeping may not be for you if you cannot find little chunks of 15 minutes throughout your life in a week. That's all I'm saying. But for most of us, we can. And if it is a priority to us to get our home feeling peaceful and more comfortable and more organized, then we can find it. I mean, it's not too much to ask. Another reason that this is helpful is because it helps us ensure that we're having an even rotation throughout our home. I know one thing that I used to struggle with a lot before Fly Lady was having neglected spots in my home. I used to put so much attention into the public areas. Maybe I would hit my boys' room, maybe I would hit my master bedroom, but there are literally rooms in this house that I did not touch. Like, because I just like felt like I was already tired by the time I got to it. So I was like, I'll get to it later. I was procrastinating, putting it off. So when you divide your home into sections and you rotate each section, it really helps prevent that neglected spot problem, drama, that some of us may be dealing with. Another reason that I like this method is because it's super kid friendly. You guys know I have 4 kids, including twin toddlers, and it is super easy for me to find a chunk in the middle of my day to get it done, despite the fact that I have all these kids running around. Even if I have to do it at nap time, where the girls are resting, that still works out very well for me, because not only can I do my 15 minutes of zone cleaning, I still have time to take a nap. And so one thing that breaks my heart is when I see moms who they have to use all of their nap time to catch up on the cleaning and to do all the things. And so this program, I feel like, is more gentle. And like I said, it does require that consistency. But if you are doing your maintenance routines, which we've been talking about for the first 3 weeks, plus doing a little bit of this, I really hope that you don't feel like you have to spend all of your kids' nap time just hustling around and doing all the things. Like, you give yourself permission to work on a little project, a little zone cleaning project, and you know that you'll come back to it and make a little more progress tomorrow. And give yourself some time to take a break and to relax, or to do other things that feel meaningful to you. And then also, I feel like this method is really helpful for people who don't want to clean all day, or some people genuinely they can't do it all day. Maybe there's like a medical issue that they have to take care of or whatever. So I feel like if you can show up for 15 minutes, or even if just 10 minutes, once again, the idea is we're making little bite size. We're taking little bites out of it every day. So even if you need to slow down and do it that way, I just feel like it's more friendly than trying to do the bench cleaning, which I feel like is promoted a lot in our society for people who don't want to clean or who are unable to clean and do all the things. So one thing that I need to make very vividly clear is that there is a distinct difference between cleaning in 15 minutes versus cleaning for 15 minutes. And the reason that I feel like I have to explain this is because this is probably the number one trap for people who are trying to work through the Fly Lady system, possibly for people who are trying to do the peaceful homekeeping system. Literally, I can't even tell you how many comments I have gotten from people who are like, that's unrealistic. How am I supposed to declutter my pantry in 15 minutes? And that's the thing. Nobody's telling you to do that in 15 minutes, like, because that's unrealistic. When you say that you have to do something in 15 minutes, it goes back to our initial problem that we were just discussing. You have a metric in your mind that you should be hitting, and you made the metric even harder. Not only do you got to hit the metric, but now you got to hit it in 15 minutes. And of course, that sounds overwhelming, that sounds stressful, and it actually sounds ridiculous. And so, up on thinking about, I can't hit that metric in 15 minutes. Once again, we go back to our original problem. If I can't hit that metric in 15 minutes, I would rather do nothing at all. Like, I just don't even want to try because that sounds too hard for me. And once again, it puts you back into a position where you're giving yourself an excuse to avoid the work. And once again, you say that you're doing it in the name of excellence. I want to do a good job, and that doesn't sound like something I could do very well. But that's not excellence. That is avoiding your problem. Once again, sometimes it can even look like this. You're like, okay, I'm taking little bite-sized pieces out of it every day. And you expect that you should be making even progress throughout the month. Like on Monday, this is going to be done. On Tuesday, I'm going to get this off my checklist. On Wednesday, like, you already have this image in your mind of certain milestones and metrics that you should be hitting each day. And once again, my friends, if you are doing this and you feel like you should be hitting certain milestones in 15 minutes, you create the potential for you to become disappointed again, because this is probably closer to reality. Expectation, reality. Some days are going to be slower. You have projects that maybe require more energy, more time. Maybe you need to sort through paperwork, and that stuff, it takes time. So it is okay if you have a couple of days where you're not zooming through your projects as fast as you want. Whereas some days it's going to be a lot faster. And it's okay for there to be a variation and fluctuation in the amount of progress that you're making each day. And so, once again, what we want to do is, even though there is a fluctuation and a variation, we want to get you to the point where you're not doing this anymore, because going slow and doing a little bit every day, and some days you're not going as far as you wanted to go. Living a life like that is still better than avoiding the situation altogether. And that is what that is what perfectionism is going to tell you to do. In the name of excellence, let's not do anything at all. And that is not helpful. Instead, what I'm asking you to do is to clean for 20 minutes. Once again, very vivid distinction. When you clean for 15 minutes, all I'm asking you to do is go to your problems, face them, get up in their grill face to face, and do something about it for 15 minutes. There's no imaginary metric that needs to be met. There's no standard that needs to be met. I'm not going to come and knock on your door and say, did you get at least this far? There's no metric. You just show up and do something about it for 15 minutes. Because if you've been living like this, I don't care what you do for 15 minutes, it's going to be better than what you had before you started. And that is all that matters. And so it's very black or white. Like I said, there's no metric that you have to hit. The only metric that you're striving for is, did I show up today or did I not? That's it. Like, did I show up or did I not? And if you showed up, you did it. It doesn't matter how far you made it. It doesn't matter how close you got to that vision in your mind. It doesn't matter if you showed up, because what I do know is that people who consistently show up to work on their problems, to face it, and to do something about it, even if it's not as far as you want it to go, eventually you're going to resolve the problem. You're going to make this problem disappear. As opposed to the person who's like, oh, I got to do it in 15 minutes. That's too much. I can't do it. And they shut down. They get so overwhelmed that they shut down. If you're spending your time being shut down because you have these imaginary expectations in your head, like, your problem's just going to be there a year from now, 6 months from now. You're not going to be making any progress. But the person who's willing to just go through the days that are more productive, some days are not as productive, the person who's willing to show up the most is going to get the problem resolved. And that is what I really want to help you guys transition into, is just becoming people who who give themselves a pat on the back for showing up, because it's through that showing up that you're going to develop the confidence to know that any problem in your environment that you see is just a matter of time before I get to it, because I am a person who consistently shows up to do something about my problems. I'm not going to avoid it in the name of excellence. I'm going to do something about it, even though it may not be as far as I thought that I want it to go. That's okay. And so, yeah, doing this is better than doing nothing. So I wanted to talk about a couple of differences between the maintenance cleaning, which is what we've been focusing on before, versus zone cleaning. Typically with maintenance cleaning, this is going to be the time where we're just really trying to, we have a set list of objectives, dishes, laundry, hotspot, and we're going to set our timer and try to get all of those things done within 15 minutes. Usually this requires us to jump from multiple rooms. Typically, our maintenance cleaning is going to be reserved for some of the higher traffic areas, and typically it's something that's done in a very swift manner, and it's not going to be the time to slow down and sort and do the detailed stuff that would typically slow you down, because we're trying to cover as much area as possible. Whereas zone cleaning is going to be a little different. On zone cleaning, we're going to really put our attention and focus into just one area of the home. And then each week we will rotate to a different area in the home. And then at some point in the program, every area, or at some point in the month, every area of your home will have an opportunity to get that detailed attention. And so zone cleaning is really going to be perfect for those tasks that I told you not to do in your maintenance cleaning, the ones that are going to take too long. Zone cleaning is the perfect time to do it. It's the perfect time to finally sort through that paperwork that you've been putting off, to finally organize that pantry, to finally organize that bathroom closet. So this is the time that you really want to do that. And then, so yeah. So I'm going to look at some questions, and then I'm going to go through some commonly asked questions when it comes to zone cleaning. So just in case I'm not clear, also I want to say that yes, so for these two elements of the program, you still need to be showing up for your maintenance routines in the morning and in the night. And then at some point in the day, you'll just pick 3 days out of the week, or 5, depending on how many you want to do. And then you're also going to be expected to show up for zone cleaning. So let's say that you decide to do your routines and you decide to do your zone cleaning on a Monday. So you're going to have 15 minutes at the top of the morning. Let's see, I usually start my zone cleaning at like 8 o'clock in the morning. And then I do my zone or my evening routine around 7 o'clock. And then somewhere within the span of those 11 hours, you just want to squeeze in a little 15 minutes of zone cleaning. For me, I like to do my stuff back to back. I like to piggyback it. If I just do my morning routine, then it's very convenient for me to just go ahead and do my zone cleaning directly after that. 30 minutes of work and I'm done until 11 hours later when I do my evening routine, or, sometimes I use my midday reset as well. Basically, what I'm trying to show you guys is that when I'm talking about it, it may seem like, oh, this is a lot of work. But if you really just break down the number of hours that you have in your day, I just feel like it's very realistic and it's not too much to ask for me. Okay, so let me just jump into the comments and see how we're doing over here. Oh my gosh, my tablet is just doing all the things today. Oh, Misbehavior says, I can feel the grooves in my brain changing. Am I the only one that kind of rushed home to get my evening routines done? What is happening to me? Girl, that's how I feel about my morning routine. I'm like, let me just get this off of my shoulders, out of my brain. Like, I'm the person, if I have a reasonable checklist, I don't like to have stuff on my checklist. Like, I like to just get it done. And that's the problem. Sometimes when we make our checklist like too, overwhelming and too long, like it's annoying to have like a checklist just like nagging you and telling you like there's all this stuff that you need to be doing. But if it's realistic, it's short. It only takes me 15 minutes. Girl, I'm trying to get that checklist out of my hair. So I can totally relate. This is from Megan. I'm late. No worries, Megan. The replay will be available. This is from Dr. Z. Day. Grateful I could catch some tips after church. I'm so excited about zone cleaning. Hey girl, thanks for jumping on. And then this is from Miss, is it Shaftik? Love this comparison. And this is from Megan. I'm live listening to replay. I was just hoping to catch it live this Sunday. I would listen and repeat if I could. And then, do you recommend hiring a cleaning company for the initial step so that we can just start the maintenance and zone cleaning? This is from Ton, and I would say if you want to, but the reason, actually, no, I would say if you want to do it. But what I actually suggest, I'm going to say do what works for you. But in terms of hiring a cleaning company to just kind of get you on reset, I would suggest doing it yourself if you can, because I know everybody's situation is going to be different. I will tell you that the value in me being the one to get all of my projects done in my house is, number one, all the limitations that I felt like I had in my life about why I was living in clutter, why I was so uncomfortable in my home. Like, I had so many reasons for why that stuff existed. And I honestly felt helpless to change my situation. But for me personally, going through the process myself gave me the confidence to know that, like, if I can conquer this, like, the rest of this stuff is going to be a breeze. And then it also allowed me to not only like know that I was struggling with perfectionism in my head, it gave me the opportunity to live through it and to work through it, because that's one of the tricky parts about perfectionism. It's like, cognitively, you know that it is okay to make little tiny baby steps and stuff. It's okay to like do what you can for today, and if you need to come back later, to come back. Like, cognitively, it makes all the sense. But sometimes, just because you know it in your brain doesn't mean that you feel it in your heart. And the only way to get that experience and to start to let your heart know that it is okay if I just do my best today and I come back tomorrow and do some more, is to like do it, to put yourself in a position where you start something, it doesn't go as far as you want it to go, and you have to walk away. It is hard. Okay. Because I'm not going to make it seem like, oh, yeah, oh my God, it's just like the easiest thing in the world. Because if you are used to being somebody who can't walk away from your goals until you hit the peak, it's hard. It's hard to do, to like see stuff halfway done. And so, like, being the one who put myself in that position, it just gave me the practice to realize that it is not the end of the world to like put this down for a moment and to come back and do it tomorrow. Like, it's not the end of the world. And it also gave me the satisfaction of seeing my home transform slowly over time. Because, like I mentioned in a lot of my other videos, sometimes it can feel like what you want is the clean home. But for me, that's not what I wanted at all. It turned out that what I really wanted is the belief in myself that I could change my environment. And in order for me to gain that belief in myself, like, I had to do the work. And now, like, I just feel like doing it and seeing that transformation and knowing that I am the one that's responsible for this because I changed what was going on inside of me. Like, it just gives me so much confidence and peace and joy. And like, like I tell you guys all the time, my home is never perfect. Never. Um, if you come at my house to my house at just the right time in the evening before I hit them evening routines, you're gonna be like, "Fly lady who? You ain't doing fly lady nothing. It looks so crazy in here." But like, being going through this process has helped me realize that it's okay, because it stresses me out when I feel like I have no control. It stresses me out when I feel like this problem is too big for me and I can't conquer it. But it doesn't stress me out when I'm like, oh, I can do that. All it takes me to do is 15 minutes for my maintenance routine. And that little project over there that's like irritating me, that's okay. I'm going to start on it tomorrow. I'm going to set my timer for 15 minutes, and before I know it, it will be gone. So, that is the argument that I would present for being the one to transform yourself. Because, like I said, it's so easy to think that this is about transforming your home and the outer transformation. But the biggest transformation that you're going to have is in yourself. And the only way that you can massage that muscle and work through that kink that might be in your heart is to be the one to do the work. And so that's what I think. So, anyway, um, okay. This is from SP. Love the content and comparisons. You nailed it. Now I'm getting some confidence on starting zone cleaning. Yeah, I'm so happy to hear that. The process is worth it. I agree, Jazzy. Hiring someone, in my opinion, would short yourself the transformation. And so for me, I'm just going to say, everybody's situation is different. So I don't know like what your specific situation is, where your starting point is. If you have like health limitations that would make it difficult for you. So like I know everybody has like different situations. So I'm not gonna be like my opinion is it's not appropriate for anyone. I mean, how many hours in the day do you have? So I don't know, but I also think another thing that I didn't mention is being the person who does it teaches you the power of consistency, and it teaches you the power of habit. And it's just a really cool process to see like how just over time these things become more and more automatic to you, like because at the beginning maybe it felt like it was just a drag to get going. Maybe it felt like there was a lot of resistance that you had to push through just to show up. And I think it's really cool to see yourself in like 6 weeks from now and you're just like knocking stuff out. You're not even thinking about it. You're doing this stuff while talking to your girlfriend, and it's just like it doesn't bother you anymore. And so I feel like when you have others, kind of come in, it kind of deprives you of that experience as well. But like I said, I would never blanket statement and say that what works for me is best for everyone. So it just kind of depends on what your situation is. There's deliverance in the process. Absolutely. It has built the confidence to conquer the other internal work. Absolutely, Dr. Z. Jazzy says, you can do it yourself with grace. Absolutely. There's so much grace that's going to be required just in this whole program in general. In zone cleaning, how do you manage if the same area and each zone keeps getting messy? Do you ignore that area the next time and touch something new in that zone? I feel I'm just stuck in the same area. So for SP, what I would say with this about this is that it could be a couple of different things. For me, if I notice that I keep going into a zone and I have to touch the same stuff every single month when I go back, there could be a couple of issues there. Number one, there could be an organization issue. This stuff is not decluttered and organized and like categorized and separated in a way that allows this organization system to last. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit at the end of this presentation. There are little things that we can do to make our organization systems last a little bit longer, because I used to feel this way all the time. Like I would go organize my pantry and then 2 weeks later, like everything was like, just shifted and moved back around, and it was like I never did anything. So we're going to talk a little bit about how we can like create a little bit of structure in our spaces so that it's not so easy for our family to come and like scatter things, and it allows things to last a little bit longer. Another issue could be a decluttering issue, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but it's pretty much, it feels very difficult to keep anything clean that has an excess of things that you don't need anymore or that you don't want or that your family's outgrown. Sometimes we buy stuff and we feel like just because we bought it, we have to keep it forever. And, eventually you're going to run out of space. You just run out of space, and then you have to do all kind of weird and awkward stuff to accommodate all the new stuff that you're bringing into your home. Meanwhile, you're afraid to let go of anything that you don't need anymore. And if you want to organize, you need space. And so that could also be another issue. And then another thing that could be causing you to have to just redo the things over and over again is, for me, I just find that I have spaces in my home, like if they're not organized to the like if they're not organized in a way that allows them to remain organized, sometimes there's just spaces in my home that they just have to be touched up all the time. Like for me, I have this entryway closet, and there are things that I could do to like, I could invest in things to make it easier to keep that place organized, but I'm just choosing not to. So I know that every single month when I go and organize my entryway, I have to just do that closet again. And that's a choice that I chose to make. But anytime I feel like I'm tired of it, like I know that there are things that I can do. I can make sure that there's less stuff in there, or I can make sure that I have a system that keeps things from getting jumbled up as easily. Oh, and then the third thing I want to say is sometimes we do our decluttering and we clear off a surface, and we don't realize that that surface that we cleared off is a target for additional clutter. And so what we talked about in week 2 was having hot spots, finding where those areas are where your family predictably drops stuff. And we talked about how it's easier to touch it every morning and touch it every night, literally a 12-hour, every 12 hours you're doing something to keep it, you're being proactive and doing something to put the fire out before it has a chance to spread. And sometimes as we're doing our decluttering projects, we have worked on new hotspots. And if you want to keep them from getting crazy again, then you have to shift it from being a zone cleaning project to a maintenance project. So I have lots of areas like that. If you follow my Instagram, you may see that I do my maintenance routine in my bathroom, because I know that my bathroom counter is a target for makeup, for diapers, for medicine. Like if I don't touch that bathroom counter, even though it's like not in my living room space, I know that it will get insane by the end of the week. And so I've chosen to make that a part of my maintenance routine. I've transitioned it from being a zone cleaning thing to a maintenance thing because I like it when my counters look clean and I want to keep it that way. And it's so easy for me to put it in my maintenance routine where I hit it every morning and I hit it every night. So those are just 4 ways to look at it that can help you not feel like I just keep touching the same thing over and over again. And then in terms of like, should you leave it alone or should you go work on something else? I am a person who believes that you go for the thing that's bothering you, because it's like if you tackle that problem first, like it just kind of lifts the weight off of your shoulders where it makes you feel a little bit better about the space. So if that is what pulls your attention when you walk into that room, I would certainly work on it and work on one of those 4 solutions to see if you can make it better in some way so that the next month when you come back to it, it doesn't like annoy you as much. And then you'll feel like the freedom and that liberation to move on to other things. So I hope that helps. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to move on. And I'll come back to comments in just a moment. Let's see, where was I? I hope I didn't delete anything. Okay, so we talked about the differences between maintenance cleaning and the differences between zone cleaning and kind of what our objectives should be depending on what we're working on. And then the next question is, how many zones are there? There, for people who are new to the program, there are going to be 5 zones, and I'll explain why we have 5 zones in just a minute. But I actually came across, so I guess before the Fly Lady system, there is a program called like She or something like that, Sidetracked Home Executives. And I've kind of read through this book a little bit, but I actually came across, I don't remember. I need to research if it was Pam or Peggy, which they are the creators of this program. And they were talking about why they decided to tackle their home using the zone method. And the lady said that she had talked to a gardener, like this person who had this really beautiful lawn. And she asked him, like, how do you keep your lawn like just so immaculate and beautiful like this all the time? And he said that the secret was that he broke his lawn down into sections and that he worked on each section, like he gave each section focused attention. So he would work on it for like a week and then he would move over to the next section. And he said by breaking it, instead of trying to do all the things at once and breaking it down into sections, it allowed him to be more thorough and do just a better job at it. And so the lady, I can't, like I said, I don't know if it's Pam or Peggy, she kind of took that idea and she thought that it would work really well when it comes to like homekeeping. And so that is why we do it this way. And then, so why do we have 5 zones? Because there's 4 weeks in a month, right? So how do you hit every zone in your house in 4 weeks when there's 5 zones that we need to hit? That doesn't make sense. So I'm going to tell you guys about that in just a moment. And then I'm also going to answer the question, how do I know what zone I'm in? And I'm going to answer these questions together because they're very related. So as you guys know, yes, there are 4 weeks in a month, but when it comes to the number of rows that each month takes up, it's never perfectly a 4. Like each month doesn't take up exactly 4 rows. We know that sometimes there's a little bit of trickle, on the top, there's a little bit of trickle on the bottom. So the way that we determine our zones is by starting on the first of the month, and then we circle the days that are remaining like after that. And then the next week, the zone 2 is going to be that whole full week. Same for zone 3, same for zone 4. And then at the end of the month, in most months, The last couple of days of the month doesn't take up the whole week. It takes up just a few days. So we'll circle those last couple of days because we know that for the next month, the following month, zone 1 is going to start at the end. So basically what I'm trying to say is that zone 1, the beginning of the month, has a little bit of overlap with zone 5 from the previous month. And this was done very intentionally. We focus on the 1st and the 5th of the month. We tend to put our attention on public areas. So your entryway and your living room. And the reason that we have less days to work on those spaces is because what most people tend to do is they tend to have those areas guest ready more often. So there tends to be less clutter in those areas. There tends to be kind of like less to do because those areas are not so easy to hide behind a closed door when company comes. And so for this month of July, if for me, I don't do zone cleaning on the weekends. That's a personal choice. So if I were to zone clean in this month of July and I wanted to zone clean for 5 days, I'm just giving an example. I only zone clean for 3. I could zone clean on that Wednesday, that Thursday, or that Friday, and I would be doing any type of tasks that could help me make my entryway feel a little bit better. And then at the end of the month, zone 5, the way that this month worked out, I could use any of the days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, to work on zone 5. And so it just has a way of working out because on zone 5, we work in our living room. And so I just want to let you guys that it's normal that there are some months when we literally have 1 day to work in zone 1 and then we're moving into zone 2. It's normal and it's okay. Same thing for zone 5. There are times where literally you have 1 day to work in your living room, then we're starting a fresh new month and we're moving back into zone 1, and it is okay. It has been strategically designed to make that just okay. And then meanwhile, we will reserve zone 2 for our kitchen. We reserve zone 3 for our like other rooms in the house. So for me, that's like the kids' rooms, guest rooms, any bathrooms. That's our time to work on that. Oh, any other bathrooms, not like the public bathroom that goes to your living room. And then zone 4, that's going to be your master bedroom suite. So if you guys are on my email list, I have sent out this little chart to help you kind of remember where the zones are. So you'll also notice that on my chart, there's a lot of extra space left after that zone. And that is because for most people, our zones do not fit these little perfect boxes or perfect categories. We may have additional rooms that need to be taken into consideration. So for me, although zone 1 is my entryway, I've also chosen to include my dining room as well as my office into this zone because when you open the door, you see all of that. And so on my entryway, I really wanted to put the attention on things that just literally the first impression. When people open the door, what is the first impression that they get in your home? And so for me, I decided to group like all the areas that people can see when they open the door. That all goes into zone 1 for me. Zone 2, not only do I work in my kitchen, but I have a dining room that I've just kind of grouped those things together because they're close together. And to me, just logically, it made sense to group my dining room there. With my kids' room and my guest room, I have like bathrooms upstairs that I have to take care of. And so I've decided to group my kids' rooms, my guest rooms, any bathrooms that are within proximity to their rooms. Also, I have another office, which is where I am now. And it just made the most sense for me to take that extra room, my office, and to plug it here. And then for my master bedroom suite, that's typically all I handle when I'm in zone 4. And then in zone 5, I have my living room. So I have 2 living rooms. I have a downstairs living room and I have an upstairs living room, and I choose to tackle both of them at the same time. And so since we know that, our homes are not going to perfectly fit within the zones as it's outlined here, your job is going to be to look at the way that your home is set up and kind of use these zones as a guideline. And if you have any additional spaces that are not represented here, then plug it in where it makes the most sense for it to go. I highly suggest using proximity as a tool to help you choose, because whenever you're zone cleaning, for example, if I decide to vacuum my entryway, The last thing that I would want to do is to thoroughly vacuum, that entryway space and then have to run upstairs because I grouped a room that was really far away and now I have to like run, to a different room to vacuum. So it makes the most sense and you can get the most bang for your buck if you choose to use proximity to help you organize how you want to group each room. But every room should have a zone that it belongs to. Um, Okay. And then what happens? Oh, before I go on, I just want to check the comments to make sure that that makes crystal clear sense to everyone because I know that sometimes this is confusing to people. Okay. Dr. Z said, thank you for the clarity. I was wondering about the weekly breakdown. All right, perfect. So it looks like you guys don't have any. Okay, this is from Sharina. I thought about hiring a professional after I do all that. I have some wall gunk that I'm trying to remove. I'm using vinegar, dish soap, and there's some improvement. Girl, Sharina, I would say do whatever makes you happy, girl. If you need to, that is stuff. I am not above hiring a professional. I was just wanting to explain like my thoughts about working through perfectionism. But there's some stuff that's really hard to clean. But I will tell you, Sharina, I recently came across this Instagram account that is giving me life. It's called Go Clean Co. And they have this what they do is they have Tide, like the laundry powder, and like they'll get this really hot soapy water and they'll put like a little bit of Tide in the soap, like a teaspoon of Tide and like a gallon of really hot soapy water. And this is a professional cleaning company and this is what they do to like remove like gunk and stains and stuff. And so girl, I saw that because I have like, for example, I may have like a little bit of grease, spackle and stuff like that on in my kitchen, on my cabinets. And so I've tried in the past to use like, regular cleaning products and I felt like it was really difficult. But girl, when I got that hot water and powdered Tide, like my life changed. I'm trying to clean everything. Like it's just like stuff magically disappears off the wall. And so that's a solution I never would have thought to try. My friend Nurse Mom Flybaby, who also makes videos about Fly Lady, she kind of shared some of their solutions and it's awesome. So if you guys do not know about that, go Clean Co. Okay, I'll have to put a link under here because it's helpful. And for me, it made me feel less intimidated by deep cleaning projects when I have like products that actually worked. And apparently that's a really old-fashioned solution. And so anyway, also before I move on, I just want to note that for those of you who have the worksheets who are on my email list, I don't know if you guys can see my mouse, but up here, number one, this is color coded. So you'll notice that if you have the week 1 slides, that everything is in pink because pink represents our daily maintenance. But here, when we get to zone cleaning, you'll know that you're on the zone cleaning resources when you start seeing things that look blue. And then here, I don't know if you can see my little chart, I have daily maintenance and then zone cleaning. So that's how you're going to know, like if you're trying to move between different cleanings, that's how you'll know if you're in the right section is because you can see that little guide that helps you know where you are. So there's pages that will explain what to do. So when you get started at home, you can remember. So next question, what happens if I don't finish my project? So this, we kind of talked about that it's okay to not hit your goal in one day. Our goal is not to hit our goal in one day. Our goal is to try to get to a point where we're making a little bit of progress on it. And people who are consistent are going to be people who make progress. And so that's our goal. And so it's okay. If you start something, a decluttering project, and you need to do a little bit of stash and dash for now, girl, it's fine. I do it all the time. You can come back and make it better next month. And then also, I just really want to encourage you guys to give yourself permission to be happy with yourself, especially if you started something and you didn't get done. What you started is going to be so much better than what you were living with before. So really try to give yourself permission to just be like happy with yourself about that. And then because you know that if you become a person who's consistent, it will get taken care of. And then another thing that I want to let you know is that one thing I've really learned, I used to think that before, like these projects were things that I just needed to do. I just do them one time. and I'm done. And that is not the case at all. As somebody who's been zone cleaning for a year now, girl, stuff comes back. Okay. Even if it's like, we talked about how to prevent that for like your hot spots, but just in general, we have families. We're constantly bringing new stuff into this home. And so there, time will come where you've run out of space and now it's time to declutter again. And it's time to like reevaluate what you need because you're in a new season. So there's really, for me, there is no getting done. Like it's a, like it's an ongoing thing. It's an ongoing process. So it's nice to have a solution that is also ongoing and that can allow you to keep up with the pace of your changing home, your changing life. Okay, so what happens if I can't get to all of the rooms in my zone, which I guess we kind of just talked about that a little bit. It's okay. Like I said, it's an ongoing project. So if you're in zone, I mentioned zone 3 is the one where I have my kids' rooms, I have my guest rooms, I have like, pretty much I did my office last week. No, a couple of weeks ago when I was in zone 3, all I was able to do is get to my office, and my office really needed the help. I was able to get in here, declutter some stuff, get some really good vacuuming going. I got some paperwork organized, and that's it. That's all I got to. I didn't get to my boys' rooms, and that's okay because guess what's going to happen in 2 weeks from now? I'll be back in zone 3. So now that my office is looking good, it's looking fresh, the paperwork that I've been putting off is organized. Now I have all the time in the world to go work on my kids and stuff. So it's okay if you need to like put your attention in one area and then wait for the next month to come back. And then also, you guys, don't feel confined to this schedule, which we'll talk about it in just a moment. But like as I mentioned before, if you're a person who does a morning and evening routine and you do like your 15-minute chunk. No, I was going to say something. I'm not even going to advise it. Just do your 15 minutes. But I'm going to say, wink, wink, wink. When you have free time, you can always come back to work on this stuff. The problem is a lot of us are underperforming. We're not even getting started. And that's what I want to eliminate is the underperforming, the avoiding. But if you feel so compelled in your heart that you want to do a little extra, set your timer for another 15 minutes. And instead of showing up for 3 days, show up for 4. Instead of showing up for 4 days, show up for 5. So it's okay if you don't get finished. You don't have to feel confined just because you said I'm going to do it for 3 days. Ramp it up a little bit. Do it 4, but we'll talk about what we want to avoid in just a moment. Next question is, can I work for longer than 15 minutes? And for this, my response is, you are the captain of your own ship. You can do what you want to do. But what I really would like to caution you is to make sure that you know when to stop. When you start getting flustered, when you start getting overwhelmed, when you start feeling frustrated, you need to just be able to listen to yourself and know when to stop working on a project for the day, because what we don't want to do is put you in a position where, yes, girl, your pantry looks awesome, but you ain't got no energy to show up to do your maintenance routine. You don't have any energy to be kind to your kids later on in the day. You don't have no energy to cook. You don't have no energy to do your self-care. You don't have no energy because you gave it all to the pantry. Whereas if you just would have slowed down a little bit and just been consistent and work on it little by little, you could have did all the things. You could have got that pantry looking great, and you could have been able to show up for the other goals that you have in your life. Okay, thank you. That was my son. So basically what I'm trying to say is don't sacrifice the other aspects of your plan and the other aspects of your life for the sake of trying to be that person who's going to get it all done today. Because in the grand scheme of things, nobody cares. Nobody is going to be coming and checking on your work and giving you a gold star because you burned yourself out and you did it in a day while everybody else took 4 days to get their lives together. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, but it does matter to you. It does matter to your quality of life. It does matter to how you feel. So basically, I just want to encourage you to learn that it is okay to stop, and that if I stop, I can always come back to work on it a little bit tomorrow. And then another problem that comes from overwhelming yourself when you feel like you have to cram and do everything at once is that a lot of times what happens to us is we don't even want to come back and do it tomorrow. Like we had such a negative experience when we walked away from that, that we don't even want to worry about it, or we don't even want to do it tomorrow. And my goal is to help you guys see that when you walk away, when you're on a high where you're like, girl, I know I could have killed that if I had another 10 minutes. When you walk away on that kind of high, that actually makes you excited to get back on it tomorrow. So I just don't want you guys like coming up with all the reasons why you can't show up the next day, coming up with all the reasons why you can't do your maintenance routines, because I hate to be the one to say it like this because it goes against a little bit what I'm saying, like what I just said. But I'm like, if you can't stick with your maintenance routines because you gave it all to these zone cleaning projects, there's no point. There's literally no point in doing these zone cleaning stuff, because like it's just going to fall apart if you don't have a solid maintenance routine. And like I said, I hate saying that there's no point in doing something, because that is what a perfectionist would say, but I genuinely believe it. I believe it because I don't like wasting my energy. And literally, if you make that pantry beautiful, but you let the house fall apart, to me, it's not worth the exchange. It's not worth the exchange. Do your 15 minutes, preserve your energy so that you can continue to show up for your maintenance routines and continue to like do the other goals that you have in your life. Like, don't sacrifice your other goals because you want to do it in one day. And because it's just too painful for you to wait a minute and like do it in three. That's all I'm saying. All right, let's move on. What should I do first? When should I do it? As I say with everything, every aspect of this program, you need to pick the time of your life and the time of the day where you have the most energy and where it makes the most sense. As I mentioned to you guys for a long time, I liked to do my zone cleaning directly after my morning routine. So I would do my morning routine and then shift into zone cleaning, and then I would be done for the day until the evening or until my midday reset. And so if you need to experiment, oh, excuse me, hold on, I got to burp. That's what I used to do. But now, like with the homeschooling and things that's going on right now, I've had to tweak. And what I've been trying for this last week, which I'm not sure if it's going to stay or if it's going to go, I'm just experimenting, is I'm trying to do it in the evening after my kids have gone to bed. I've been putting on an audiobook and trying to get it done. And I really like the way that that works out. But I just want to kind of see what happens over time, if that's something that I'm going to stick with. And it's okay for you to do the same thing. It's okay for you to say, this week I'm going to try to do it at lunch. And then for you to find out that that doesn't work out so well and you're not motivated to do it at lunch, maybe you'll be more motivated to do it first thing in the morning or later in the night. Or maybe you know that you have an appointment, and as soon as you come back from that appointment you have a burst of energy and you could do it then. And so just feel free to give yourself permission to explore the best time for your life and the best energy, and once again it's 15 minutes. And so we've talked about the thoughts that can sabotage your decluttering and cleaning projects. Let me get that question mark off of there. We also talked about everything that I think you need to know for zone cleaning. Once again, if you guys have questions, then go ahead and leave your questions down below, because this is the time for me to answer them. And next, we're going to talk about the DODD method. I made that up. So what is the DODD method? So sometimes I can relate to that feeling of opening a closet and seeing this massive project ahead of you. And you're like, what the crap do I do? Like, how do I start this? This feels so overwhelming to me. And so this is a 4-step approach that I like to take when I encounter my zone cleaning or decluttering project. And so this framework is not here to tell you what to do. It's not a list. It's just a little bit of a guide, and it's just a little bit of structure should you need that to just help you feel more confident with tackling your projects. Because when you're trying to look at all the things that need to get done at once, it's overwhelming. But if you know that this is all that I'm working on right now, it can kind of help you get that confidence to just jump in there and get started when you have one focus. And then you don't have to worry about the other things because this is all I'm focusing on. So step one is to declutter. And so yeah, if a project feels overwhelming for me, the first thing that I like to do is I like to remove or purge all the things that I don't need, want, or use anymore. Simply the act of purging for me, just I don't know what it is, but releasing things that I don't need anymore instantly makes that project feel more doable and more manageable when I don't have to shift through both the things I want and the things that I don't want. But here's the problem. Oh, wait. So here's a couple of problems. Number one, I feel like far too many people, including what I used to do, they mix organizing and decluttering together. Like I said, it's too hard when you're trying to do them both at the same time. But what I found to be the easiest is to break it down and to focus on the act of purging first, then focus on the active organizing second. That just seems to make the project go by so easier for me. And so the second problem that can come from this is that sometimes it is so hard for us to give ourselves permission to let go of things that don't bring value to us anymore. Sometimes we buy things and then after a while our family outgrows it. We decide that it's not a good fit. We just keep pushing it aside. We don't use it. And instead of purging it and removing it, like we feel shackled to it. Like we have to just hold on to it and keep it there for a long time because I don't know, you don't want to seem wasteful, or maybe somebody told you you couldn't do that. And what happens is, like, you guys, we only have a set amount of space in our home. And if your family is growing and evolving or changing, or if your family eats every week, you're constantly bringing new stuff into your environment all the time. And eventually, you will run out of space. Like, that's just, I don't even know what science part of education that is. Is that math? Is that just basic math? If you have something and you keep adding to it, I don't know what is that, science, math, physics? I don't know. But I feel like there is some law out there that supports me on this. Okay, I need to find it. But eventually, you're going to run out of space. If you keep bringing more and more and more and more and more into your environment, you are going to run out of space. And that is why so many people feel uncomfortable in their homes. They are getting crowded, they are literally getting crowded out of their homes, and they refuse to do anything about it. And I can't convince you, I can't make your decluttering decisions for you, but I can tell you that a way to find relief for yourself and to remove that burden off of your shoulders is you gotta form a healthy relationship with also letting stuff go. Like, stuff is coming in and you have to be okay with letting stuff go so that you can reclaim some of that space in your environment. And then once you have space, then you can work the magic. That's my thoughts. So this is the process that finally helped me get out of my head and making the decisions that needed to be made. And it really helped me start to let go of things that I knew deep in my gut had no business being here. And it is called the 27 item fling boogie. And that is all you do for 15 minutes. You set your timer, you go to that new decluttering project that you need to tackle, and you take a trash bag with you and a donation box if you need that. And you fill that bag up with at least 27 things that you know in your heart is not serving your family anymore. It literally provides no value to your family. What is value? Value is helpfulness. Does this product, is it helping anybody right now? Is it doing a service to me anymore? Do we still use it? Do we still need it? Like, if it's not providing value, it can't take up the space in your house anymore. It has to go. I don't care how nice it is. I don't care who gave it to you. Okay, I'm saying this. You guys are the captain of your own ship. Feel free to be as strict with this as you want to, because Lord knows I'm not like a black or white person. Like, it stays or it goes. There are special things that don't quite fit the criteria that I decide to keep or hold on to a little bit longer. But it's about realizing that you can only hold on to so much of that stuff, and eventually you're going to have to start making some choices. So that's what this is really about. I'm not trying to guilt you guys into letting stuff go, like your grandmother's earrings that you don't wear but you really want to keep. I'm not talking about that. And to me, that is value, because it's something that, like, it's emotional to you. So that is valuable. But basically, what I'm trying to say is you just need to get into a value of making sure that everything that is in your space has earned a right to be there. It's providing value to me. If I throw this away, I'm actually going to have to go buy it again because I use it. It provides value to me. But if you look at something and in your heart you know that it's not providing value, it's not helping anybody, nobody's using it, like, it's okay to let it go so that you can get your space. Because one thing that I always say is, yes, the items that you have, they're valuable, but space is also valuable too. The space that you have to work with is also valuable too. And it's like you have to choose. Do I want to keep this stuff that I bought and I feel shackled to? Or do I want to let it go and get my space back? And it's like it's kind of hard to choose both at the same time. That's one lesson that I've learned. You can't keep an excessive amount of clutter and have a nice space to work with. You have to kind of make some choices, and it's really just an exchange that you have to go through, if you will. I don't know. Actually, I'm trying to say it's a spectrum, if you will. There's a spectrum that you have to like be able to go through in order to figure out like what's an appropriate amount of stuff for you. When we are doing a 27 fling boogie, this is not the time to organize anything. This is not the time to sort for anything. We are simply looking for things to trash or donate. 15 minutes, that's it. And by the end of your 27 or your 15 minutes, you want to make sure that you have at least 27 things that you can remove and purge from your home. Some things that you may want to consider as clutter that I didn't consider to be clutter before I started Fly Lady. I thought clutter would be like things like, you know, shirts that had holes in them. Obviously, that stuff, like the obvious stuff, trash. Obviously, I need to let go of trash. Like, I thought it was like the obvious stuff, but things that I didn't consider to be clutter that I now do are like things like cleaning products. I tried these cleaning products. They didn't do what I thought they were going to do. And I'm just holding them in my cabinets for some reason, thinking that something's going to change. Let it go, you know? Makeup, like I bought makeup and it didn't quite match my skin tone, or I didn't like the way that it finished. So I'm just leaving it in the drawer, you know, just in case something magically changes or just in case I need it. And like years will go by. I don't need it. I didn't use it. I don't need it. Now's the time to let it go. Another thing that I didn't consider to be clutter was like food that nobody wanted to eat. I don't want to be wasteful. What if we might need this one day? Girl, your kids won't even eat that food in a famine. Donate it, let it go to the next family, and instead put food in there that you actually want to eat, because it's okay. We buy stuff to try on our families all the time, and it doesn't work out the way that we thought it should. Don't punish yourself by just keeping it there and looking at it and wishing that you can make your pantry beautiful, and you're suffering for an item that is not providing value. Let it go, move it on to the next family. Like I said, use that space for the stuff that you guys need and that's appropriate for your family. Another thing that I didn't consider to be clutter pre-Fly Lady was an excess of stuff. Like, you know, I can look at a cup and be like, you know, of course we need cups, we need a drink, but do I need 50 cups? Is it necessary for the cups to take up the space of the whole pantry? No, it's not. I don't need that many. Like, I only need like a handful of cups and we'll do just fine. And so once again, like I said, I didn't consider that to be cluttered. So my pantries were packed to the max because I went to Dollar Tree and got the little cute cups and the little cute coffee mugs. And I didn't give myself permission to let go of the ones that I didn't use anymore. And that was something that was necessary for me in order to create space to put other things and to make it aesthetically pleasing to me and to just arrange it the way that I want to. So an excess of stuff. You don't need to have 500 pencils. Like, you know, I'm guilty of that one. I could easily have 500 pencils in this house, but I'm just saying in excess, like there becomes a point where you don't, like the excess is not providing value to you. It's just taking up space and you're not using it. And so it is normal for you to go into a new project, a decluttering project, and for you to be decluttering for a couple of days. I think when I cleaned my master bedroom, I literally spent like 2 days just finding stuff to get, 2 or 3 days just finding stuff to get rid of, you know, and that's normal. If it's okay, if you need to set 15 minutes on Monday to work on some stuff, you need to come back for 15 minutes on Tuesday. It's fine. Just do whatever you need to do until you feel reasonably satisfied that you have removed the excess, the weight, the heavy weight, the things that are burdening you down, and you've gotten rid of the things that are not providing value anymore. So these are some questions that help me assess if something needs to go. Because it's no longer, I just bought it, therefore it stays. I spent $50 on it, therefore I have to keep it. That is no longer the criteria that I use to evaluate what gets to stay and leave anymore. The questions that I ask is it still providing value to my family right now? And as I mentioned, value means helpful. Is it helpful right now? Is it helping me in any way right now? On the Fly Lady system, they ask, is it a blessing to my home? Is this blessing me, or is it making me feel guilty because I really don't want it deep down in my heart, but I feel like I have to keep it? Okay, if it's not a blessing, you got to let it go. Do I really need this midi? This is one that I added. This is peaceful homekeeping because, like I said, I never considered excess to be a form of clutter, but it is if it's taking up unnecessary space. Okay, and when I kind of started doing the 27 fling boogie, this is what really helped me get out of my head, get out of the process of trying to justify every little item while I needed to keep it.
when I had that 15 minutes and I had my objective, it just really helped me just make the decisions that I needed to make. And I found that most of the decisions that I needed to make were intuitive. Like my heart already knew that it was time to move on, and that's what I did. And as soon as you declutter, my suggestion to you is get it out your house as soon as possible. If you're donating it, before you sit down, take it to the car. If you're putting it in the trash, before you leave, take it to the dumpster. If you're going to put it in your garage because you want like a month to think about it, do that too. But I would just get it out the house and start living your life without it as soon as you can. And so I know that there's going to be a lot of questions and concerns that come up as you guys are thinking through this. And so for the purposes of this video, I can't like touch on everything because decluttering, I know, is an emotional issue for many people. A lot of us, including me, were raised with very strong values around why we need to hold on to things that are not serving us anymore, whether it's because you spent money on it and we feel like it's wasteful or whatever the reasons are. And that is part of the work, is feeling like becoming aware. If you know that holding on to excess clutter is not helping you reach your goal, just becoming aware of the thoughts around why you feel like you need to hold on to it. And if that those old thoughts, those old ways of being, if it makes sense for where you want to go. And sometimes you'll feel like you have all these forces holding you down and keeping you from doing what you need to do, when the only force that you really need to conquer is your own thoughts and your own perception about it. And so that's part of the work. And I wish I had more time to talk about kind of like my own personal journey with me confronting my thoughts around letting go of excess and letting go of clutter. But I do have videos where I think I have at least 2 videos where I've talked about limiting beliefs and the mindset that I had to confront in order to give myself permission. Because that's what it is. It's about permission. There's nobody physically chaining that clutter to you. There's nobody who's tied that stuff around your waist. It's you not giving yourself permission. And you need to find out what it takes for you to give yourself permission to do the things that will get you closer to your goal. Because if you're living in a life that you don't want and you're not happy with, there's something wrong. There's something wrong. And you have to be willing to figure out, where might I be wrong in this situation? Where might my thinking have been off? And you have to be willing to explore what it looks like to try another way of thinking about it. And like I said, I have videos where I kind of talk about that a lot. And so feel free, if you're new, to go through my channel to kind of learn about what the limiting mindsets that I used to struggle with and how I overcame those. But I know it's going to be different for everybody. And so step 2, organize. Before I do that, I'm going to jump in the comments. This is from Dr. Z. Sounds like parenting. You never arrive, but you gain tools that help you navigate better. Hey. Powdered Tide. So basically, yeah, like the Tide laundry soap, the stuff that they used to use back in the days. Girl, she took that hot water and a teaspoon of that powdered Tide and she threw it in there. And that stuff, I don't know. She said it has enzymes in it and it also has a surfactant in it. And so the combination of those two things makes it work like a dream. And so, yeah, like the laundry detergent. I'd love to try that. Thank you, Miss Happy Housewife. Thank you so much. Yeah, you never stop decluttering. Okay. Hey, Kenya. I'm curious about what area you're dealing with that keeps getting messy. Okay, I guess that question is for, wait a minute. Okay, somebody asked a question about having to tackle the same area over and over again. And so that's actually a good question, Kenya. SP, if you're willing to answer that, I would love to know as well if you can share some details with us about like, what do you think is causing that area to become messy over and over again? And like, what do you think is kind of holding you back from being able to move on? That's actually a good question. Thank you so much, Kenya, for asking that. Okay, so the next step. So we talked about step 1. Like I said, this is just a little bit of guidance, is to declutter. Step 2 is organize. I noticed that in the Fly Lady book, there was not a lot of conversation about decluttering, or not, sorry. There was not a lot of conversation about organizing. And I think the reason that that was the case is because I feel like if a lot of us have these images in our mind of what our homes should be looking like, once you remove the clutter and once you remove the excess weight, it's like, I don't know, for me, I just felt like this new sense of possibilities. And like, I just had inspiration that just started to strike. And girl, you can go on the Pinterest pages, you can do like go on the Instagrams, like all of a sudden that stuff seems more doable and within my reach when I'm not being weighed down by the clutter. And so, I feel like you kind of have an idea in your heart already of like what you would like to see when it comes to organizing, and just feel free to like go with that. But one thing I will say is that one thing that I did that I noticed made a huge difference in terms of making my decluttering projects and organizing projects last a little bit longer is getting into the habit of having clearly defined areas for different categories. And so what I would do is I would take the items that I had left and I would sort them out according to similar groups. So maybe, in my bathroom, I had like nail products here, I had lady products here, maybe I had medicine here. And so I would put them into their categories according to sorting by like items. And then instead of putting them back into the shelves and expecting them to stay like that, I just went to the Dollar Tree and got bins that kind of matched the size of that category. And I noticed that when I use like bins and then I put the bins back into my pantries, or sorry, back into my closets, that eliminated so many problems for me. It completely eliminated the problem of people kind of like jumbling stuff up. So things are mixed up and chaotic again. It also made the systems last a little bit longer. So that's just a tip. Let's see. Oh, it also made it really easy for me to find what I needed when things had like a very clear place where they belong. And then like if I have guests right now, and sometimes they go get stuff that they need from my bathroom, and when they're putting it back, it's very obvious like where it goes. So it makes it so that my organization systems last a lot longer than they used to last before in the past. And see, I had some notes here. Oh, and so I want to say that this doesn't have to be anything that's overwhelming or expensive. I literally went to the Dollar Tree, got baskets. I also did the same thing in my kitchen, like in my pantry. I bought like a lot of baskets. I have tomato goods here. I have like rice in one area. I have pasta in another area. And like those baskets, even though they're like inexpensive, like they've really made the difference. And it just keeps the system intact a little bit longer. So that's the only tip that I really have around organizing. This is an optional tip, but you may want to consider decorating. We talked about in week 2 how if we decorate our hot spots, it has a way of kind of fending off clutter a little bit longer. I had hot spots that I never thought I would be able to get under control. And then when I just threw up some plastic plants strategically, threw up a lamp, then all of a sudden I noticed that it kept people from dropping their junk and their clutter on it. And so obviously this is not going to work perfectly for every space in your home. Because there are just some surfaces that need to be used, no matter how much decorations you put on them. But this was something that really helped me. And then also the beauty is that it sparks joy if you pick something that you like, which kind of keeps you motivated and keeps you going and keeps you wanting to stick with the program. The last thing, that if you walk into a room, you see that it's it's decluttered, it's pretty well organized, you don't have any additional plans for decorating, then the last thing that you want to consider working on is like deep cleaning. I know for me personally, I don't know what it was, but I was super intimidated by deep cleaning before I started my journey. I used to feel like, I don't know, it was just something that I dreaded, and it's something that I felt like was going to be really hard. But let me tell you, if you can get through that decluttering and organizing, deep cleaning is like the easiest part of this whole thing. And so, and if you do it in a zone cleaning type of method, then you will never be a victim of having to spring clean again. And so, like literally, you can literally be handling all of your spring cleaning slowly throughout the year in chunks of 15 minutes here and chunks of 15 minutes there. And so for me, another problem that I had is I could not see the things in my environment that needed to be deep cleaned. I don't know like why. I think maybe a lot of it had to do with my childhood and no one ever pointing out stuff to me that, should be cleaned regularly. Like you need to wipe a wall. So to me, I was just like mind blown when I would go on YouTube and see people scrubbing walls. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing that for? And so like to me, it just didn't even dawn on me that that was something that you could do and that people were doing. And now that I have kids, I know exactly why you need to scrub walls. But So the thing that finally helped me open my eyes to see all the little things that could be deep cleaned is because I just told myself that I don't care how organized this space looks. I don't care how clean it looks. Like when I show up for my 15 minutes, I need to find something to do that can level up this space. And then when I challenged myself to look for things that I could do in those 15 minutes, that's when I started to notice the scuffs on the wall, the smears, I'm sitting here looking at smears on my computer screen, the dust that's sitting in the corner, and like all the little things that I just never noticed because I didn't know to look for them, and I was too busy like handling the fires in the living room. And so, another thing that I like to do is I like to go check out detailed cleaning lists for inspiration because I feel like that's a common hiccup for people is they go get the detailed cleaning list and they feel obligated to do that list from beginning to end. And when it's not getting done, it makes them feel discouraged. So I do like to use detailed cleaning lists when I start running out of ideas of like, what kind of stuff should I be cleaning now? And so the detailed cleaning list just helps to give me inspiration, but it's nothing that I feel obligated to. As long as I'm making progress and doing something in that room, I have found that the need for working on strict lists, I don't need that because like I said, I'm always looking for an opportunity to work on something. And I seem to be able to find most of the things that need to get done. Or, like I said, I use that list for inspiration and it helps me look for other things I would not think to check. Another place that I like to go for inspiration, this one's new to me, is that Instagram page I told you about, that Go Clean Co. Let me type that right here, girl, because that Go Clean Co. on Instagram. It's the truth. These people are professional cleaners and they have some strategies to deep cleaning that I have just never seen before. They have really sensible and expensive recipes that you can make with stuff that you have in your home. And the most exciting part is their recipes work. Like I told you guys about that hot water and powdered laundry detergent, the Tide, like that stuff works like a dream. I was able to use that to like wipe some stuff and like it just felt so easy to see a lot of the dirt and stuff coming off. Whereas before I've tried it with other cleaning products and it felt like it was really like a tedious process. So they have a lot of recipes that work because they really know what they're doing. Like they're professionals, but they are so like down to earth and they share what works for them. And so when I watch stuff like that, that gives me a lot of inspiration on the kind of stuff that I could be deep cleaning. And then once again, I just want to reiterate that this is not a to-do list. This is simply guidance if you feel like you're overwhelmed and you don't know where to start. And so let's see, do I have notes here? Okay, that's it. I just wanted to let you guys know that like this is not a list. I'm not going to give you a list because I feel like if you feel tension in your heart and you feel like there's something that you want to change in your environment, if you set that time aside, that was what was the issue for me is not feeling like I had time. But when I learned to find time and to learn, and I learned to use what I had, then and I had the opportunity to show my home what I got, then all of a sudden it was just obvious to me what I needed to work on. And I felt pulled to those projects that needed my attention. And so I feel like I trust you guys and I trust that the same thing will happen to you guys as well. And then, if you don't feel like, this is enough guidance for you, then you can always go and add a list. I think even on the Fly Lady website, they have like checklists and things like that that you can follow. And so this is what our objectives are for this week. Number one, you need to, if you're on my email list, you're going to be getting this document again, and I've added some additional pages for you. So you need to get this page and decide where you want each room in your home to fit into your 5 zones. And then you need to decide when you plan to zone clean. As I mentioned, for me, I like to strive for 3 days a week. I used to do it like I would do Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And then as soon as I did my morning routine, I would just roll straight into zone cleaning because I don't like to have stuff on my checklist. I like to hurry up and get stuff done. But with homeschooling, that's not feasible for me anymore. So what I've been doing is I will do it in my evening routine. So I think I do it now on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So basically having a plan and determining it in advance. The last thing that you want to do is wake up on Monday and be like, am I zone cleaning today? I'm not sure. No, it needs to be on paper. I am zone cleaning today. Today is Monday. When your feet hit the ground, you should already have that in your head that this is part of your to-do list. If you guys stick with me a little bit longer, I'm going to be providing like a weekly schedule template. But for now, because obviously as we add different layers to the system, I want you guys to have a place to document your plans. But for now, since it's just this one thing that you have to track, you can just use your planner, or you can just, just write something on a piece of paper that I plan to do it on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And then obviously if you want more, then feel free to do that. Step 3 is to don't forget to set your timer. Once again, this is 15 minutes of work. And the most important thing that you can do is show up. And then you can use the DODD method to kind of guide how you want to work on it and what you want to approach first. Do you want to spend your 15 minutes decluttering? Do you want to spend your 15 minutes grouping things into like categories and then putting them into baskets? Or do you want to spend your 15 minutes deep cleaning? It doesn't matter. I mean, it does matter. I think you should start on decluttering first and kind of work your way through the list, but as long as you're doing something to make it better. And then step 5, I want to reiterate, just knowing when to stop. I know that emotionally it's going to be hard for some of you guys to walk away, because I know I personally struggled with feeling anxious when it was time to stop, if I didn't feel like I was done, and just feeling a lot of anxiety around that. And if you feel that way, I just want to let you know that I can relate. I don't want to say that it's normal, because I don't think it is normal. I don't think it's healthy. But like, if that shows up for you, just know that you're not alone, and that was something that I had to struggle with too. And it does get better over time, especially when you see how much further you're going to go when you do something realistic and you're consistent and you stick with it for a long time. And over time, your brain will start to see that, oh, this way is better. This way is easier. This way makes the most sense for my life. And you're going to feel so good when you start seeing things getting done. And it's not going to take as long as you think. I started seeing progress literally within days that made my heart feel so overjoyed. And I hope that you guys will have the same experience. And then lastly, don't forget to keep up with those maintenance routines. Those maintenance routines are super, super, super important. If you ever have a day where you have to choose, do I do my maintenance routine or do I do this zone cleaning? By all means, skip zone cleaning and do your maintenance routines, because that is the foundation. Without the maintenance routine, everything falls apart. And so please do your maintenance routines, and please don't overwork yourself so much that you don't feel like you can show up for it. And so for me, when it comes to zone cleaning, showing up is the hardest part. Getting my bum off of the couch, or usually not off the couch because I just got finished doing my morning routine, but getting my bum into the gears and into the mindset of showing up. And so you guys, the work is easy, decluttering and doing this, throwing stuff away, grouping like stuff. That's easy. That's stuff that I think I could even have my 8-year-old do. The hard part is learning what it takes for you to become the kind of person that shows up consistently. That's the real work, is yourself, and knowing how to get yourself moving when you don't feel like you want to. And so a large piece to solving that problem has been given to you today, working in realistic small chunks. Because when you say that it's 15 minutes, it really gives you a bargaining tool when you feel like, I don't feel like doing this today, for you to be like, well, it's only 15 minutes. It's easy. It's going to help. It's going to make things better. Working in chunks like this gives you the tools to fight that voice back. But ultimately, there could be other things that you need to work through. And so for me, the thing that really helps me show up when I don't feel like it is audiobooks, podcasts, music. I feel like if I'm listening to Beyonce, I can do anything. So what does it take for you to show up for those realistic routines and to kind of help support yourself through that process as you're becoming somebody who shows up? And so, as I mentioned, if you guys are on my checklist, this is what the new pages if you're in my email, this is what the new pages of your peaceful homekeeping journal look like. And these are all about the resources that you need to just remember what you should be doing for zone cleaning. This week, as we're going into Monday, we are actually going to be in zone 2, if I'm correct. Danielle, if you're still here, let me know if we're in zone 2. I'm pretty sure we're in zone 2, but I need to have a recent calendar to confirm. Why do I not have a calendar within arm's reach? I think we're in zone 2. You know what? Let me not get off of this live until I confirm that we're in zone 2. Let me get a calendar. Hold on. Yes, we are. Okay. Didn't want to lead my people wrong. We're in zone 2, which means that we're going to be starting off this challenge in our kitchens. And the kitchen, I think, is fun. And so, as I mentioned, decluttering. The kitchen probably has a lot of cleaning products that you don't use anymore. A lot of food that's been sitting there for 5 years is probably expired. This is the time to get all that up. A lot of pots and pans that somebody gave you because they got it at the garage sale. They bought it for 25 cents, 10 years ago, and you just been holding on to it. You don't use it, but you feel like you can't let it go because somebody gave you that 25-cent pot. That's my own personal story. Y'all wouldn't even believe the stuff that I felt like I had to keep that whole that I had to hold on to because I felt guilty to let it go. But we're gonna be in the kitchen this week, and then this is the last page. Basically just explaining the GODD method and kind of guide you on what you could be focusing on. And for those of you who don't know, I am on Instagram and I am trying my best to bring the fire in terms of motivation. So if you're not on Instagram, you are missing out on a large part of this peaceful homekeeping challenge. I have daily check-ins. I try my best to come in and show you guys how things look in my home. Sometimes I feel like on social media, there's a lot of aspirational cleaning, and you're cleaning an already clean house kind of thing, which is cool because some people really can live that life. But I'm not there yet. And if you find that, you're like, I'm doing the routines, I'm doing the stuff, and my house looks crazy, girl, you're going to be in good company. Because as I've told you guys before, there's literally, come to my house at about 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock, and things look really questionable around here. And so I feel like it's important to share so that you guys, if you feel like you're in the same circumstances where things kind of fall apart as we're getting closer to those evening routines, I want you guys to know that that's normal, at least for me, and that's just the life of having kids. I refuse to I refuse to limit my kids and make them where they can't use their imagination and they can't play with their toys for the sake of keeping my home perfectly spotless all the time. But I know that I have things under control as long as I have my routines. And so I think that it's healthy for other moms to see that, okay, there looks like there's a toy explosion in her living room too. And she's still getting this done in 15 minutes. All right, I'm going to be okay. So I'm trying to be that for you guys as we're going through this journey. Also, I have the emails. And so the emails will have your daily motivational posts. When I started my Fly Lady system, the emails helped me out so much because they just helped me remember that I was on a mission, I was on a journey, and I had work that needed to be done. And then they were just really motivational and encouraging to me because they just helped me remember that the enemy is not my house. The enemy is not my lack of time. The enemy is in my mind, in me trying to be a perfectionist about this and realizing that I can't, and trying to uh, avoid my problems because I didn't think I could do it perfectly. And she just helped me remember that I had a choice and that I could get out of that situation once I decided to do so. And so they helped me. And I just want to have these emails for you guys to also just be able to share that same energy with you guys and hopefully be able to help you guys as you're walking through it. Because like I said, it seems so easy on paper, but it's another thing when you have to live it. And I know that for some of us, it's not going to be as easy as it sounds. And then as always, if you have questions, if you get stuck on something, if you have concerns, please feel free to reach out to me. If you get my emails, there's a feedback form that I check every week to see if anybody's having any questions or maybe there's something I wasn't clear on. Also, I'm on Instagram and I respond to people in my DMs all the time. And that's my email address if you feel like you want to reach out to me that way as well. And so I am done. Oh, I need a drink of water. I'm going to take a moment to read through the comments. And if there's any questions, I'll go ahead and answer them now. And then I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Okay, so let me read through the comments. So Sharina, you asked, is it zone 2? Yes, we are on zone 2, which zone 2 is like the things in our kitchen. So yes. Okay, this is from Marta. For cleaning walls, did I hear Tide and hot water only or with vinegar too? If you're talking about that website that I mentioned, the Go Clean Co., they only use Tide and hot water. And if they want to disinfect, they will put a little bit of bleach in there. That's their recipe. Not saying that is the end all be all. That's their recipe. I tried it. I loved it. it was a dream come true. Just check that site out. Okay, I think I missed something. I took a magic eraser to one of my walls yesterday and I slowly made my way around to all of them. Otherwise, it's just too much at once. Absolutely. Yeah. Sometimes, Kenya, I will do that as well. I will set my timer. Like if I'm doing my zone cleaning, um, like my living room areas tend to have a lot of interesting stuff on the wall. So I could literally just be like, you know what? Today's zone cleaning. I'm in my living room. All I want to do is make these walls look better. And before I had this Tide solution, you go get my magic eraser. I would set my timer for 15 minutes and I would go and run and clean walls. And if I ran out of walls in the living room, I would go to the upstairs and just kind of just focus on walls for 15 minutes. And that made me feel a lot better. I'm big about making my space pretty. It makes me want to keep it organized and clean. Kenya, that's exactly what's happening to me as well. Like before Fly Lady, I used to feel like my home had to be put together before I could decorate. Because if I decorate and my house looks crazy, I used to feel like I just created more for me to clean. So for a long time, I didn't decorate. And even now, that's probably going to be a journey that you guys will get to follow me on, is how to make my home feel more inviting and more welcoming, because I avoided decorations for so long because I was just like, that's just more stuff for me to clean. And I was just waiting for the right time, kind of like with what we've been talking about today. I was waiting for the right time to feel like I could give myself permission to like decorate and make things pretty. And what I've learned on Fly Lady is like, once again, there's no right time. It's kind of like and the hotspot fire drill is actually what made me start becoming more aware of it and how it made me feel. And you're right. Like when you have a space that you do your hotspot fire drill and it looks pretty and it looks clean, like it just gives you like a sense of pride that just makes you want to keep going. And by the way, Kenya, I did your candles thing. Like Kenya, you guys, I don't know if you guys can see Kenya's corner in the comments, but she does like a lot of mommies and homeschool and cleaning videos and stuff, home videos and stuff like that too. And she recommended, just to help you kind of get in the spirit of cleaning, to like light candles and do things to make the space feel like warm and inviting. That way it kind of makes you want to like show up a little more for your routines. And so I tried that, Kenya. Girl, my kitchen was looking crazy, but I lit me some candles. I put my headphones on. For me, I like to listen to audiobooks and podcasts and stuff. And it really made a difference. And so I want to tell you thank you for that tip, because doing things in your environment to make you feel better just does have a way of like filling you up and making you motivated to stick with it. This is from Karen. Hey girl. Okay, so that's it. I'm done. If you guys have any questions, y'all know where to find me. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Oh, did I go through all the slides? Yes. All right. I will see you guys next week. Next week. Oh, wait, let me tell you next week what we're doing. Miss Happy Housewife and I are going to be coming on here. We're going to be having a conversation because we're going to do zone cleaning for this week and next week. So today I talked to you guys a lot about the logistics of zone keeping, why we do it, how it's done, what to focus on. But next week, we're going to be talking about just some additional success tips and like mindset shifts and things that both Danielle and I had to like work through on an inner level that just helped change the game for us. And just little tips and things like that that we've learned that really made this zone cleaning something that we just felt like made it more of our own and made us achieve the type of progress that we wanted to achieve. That's all I'm saying. And so we're going to talk about that. We're going to have like a discussion, like a fireside chat next week. And I think it's going to be really cool because I think one of the things I love about this program is just seeing the way that people tweak it and seeing the way that people make it work for their lives, and also seeing the breakthroughs that other people make as they're going through this. Because sometimes it's so easy to think that we're the only ones like going through something. And it's just so eye opening when you have a girlfriend that's like, girl, I kind of went through something similar, and here's what that looks like for me. And so we're going to be having that kind of conversation. And I think it's going to be really good. We're going to be very open, very honest about, this transition, because for some of us, like I said, the task itself is easy, but it's the stuff on the inside that's not. And I think that sometimes just having like a community, sisterhood, and just knowing that you're not alone can help facilitate that process. And so Danielle and I are going to be doing that next week, and I'm super excited about it. So, all right, so I'm going to let you go.
and I will see you guys next week.